So we have a pretty good group here today, and we have a very simple agenda. Why would we use 90? How do we log into 90 and what's in there? And Brandon and Teresa are going to talk about onboarding. And then we'll open it up for a Q&A. We're going to talk about how this is going to work going forward, as we've discussed in our first meeting. And I know we're all a little rusty going through the holidays, but as we discussed in our first meeting, we're going to really run this cohort like a study group. I don't want to layer on, we're not going to layer on, take a lot of your time, but we want to get together periodically and discuss, how we're using it, what we're experiencing, and share how we can be the most effective that we can. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yep.
Awesome. It's the beauty of having a community, right? So perhaps Brandon and Teresa Voss, I will hand it over to you guys to start, if that makes sense. Brandon, I saw your slides. They make a huge amount of sense.
Yeah. Well, George, if it's okay, I'll start the journey for everyone today.
Awesome.
Let me share my screen.
And this is being recorded, everyone, so we'll post this in the community.
Awesome. Well, team, so good to see you all. I think I recognize some of your names and faces, others I haven't. So if this is the first time we've met, wonderful to meet you. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey of 90. Let's call it 90 101. I'm going to come at this through the lens that you've never heard of 90 before. This is a brand new thing. And I don't want to assume anyone's level of understanding or expertise with who we are, what we do. So consider this a kind of step one introduction to who we are as a software and as a partnership team. With me today is Teresa Voss. Teresa is our solution architect. If you start to ask me questions that are really, really smart and beyond my ability to answer, that's why Teresa's here. She's going to handle all the hard stuff. So thank you in advance, Teresa.
Thank you, Brandon.
All right. So I think all good meetings have really clear agendas, and mine's really, really simple for our time together. Again, I want you to just understand us, just fundamentally. What are we as a software platform, and how do we partner with you to do amazing things for yourself and your clients with our software through our partnership team? And then secondly, to George's earlier point, what are the first baby steps that we all need to take together to onboard you officially as partners with us and to get you using 90? So I will cover these two things today. If you feel like I haven't done these two things at the end of our time together, let me know and we'll fix it. I think this will roughly take 30 to 40 minutes, and we'll leave time at the end for Q&A. But I'm an interactive guy. So if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me. I'm not going to take it personally. If you raise your hand or drop, chat comments, Teresa, if you can flag this for me, because I'm not going to be paying attention, someone interrupt me and I'm happy to answer your questions in real time. I like this. I asked ChatGPT a question before we got on this call with you, because what I want to display is the common ground that we share. So us as a company, a software company, and you as growth advisors, we both exist with this common mission to help business leaders achieve something. So I asked ChatGPT, what do business leaders want when they work with a growth advisor? This is what the machine spit out at me, but I thought it was a really good summary of really what business leaders are looking for when they're trying to grow the value of their company. As we explore what you do and how we help you through our software and partnerships, I want to bring it back to this idea. This is the value we're going to deliver to business leaders together. Keep that in mind. Let's talk about 90 first as a platform. We are a software company, and the category that we consider ourselves to exist in is this category called business management software. We are a collection of tools that entrepreneurs, typically the leadership team, so owner down to director level, we have a collection of tools that they use to run the business. Everything from strategic planning tools, so building the plan, to how do you run really great meetings that help you execute against that plan day to day, week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter. How do we help you stay laser focused on objectives that drive the business forward, manage your to-do list, yada, yada, yada. All of those tools are built inside of our software. And I will show you in a quick demo today the application for how you will use these tools, or how you can use these tools with your clients. So this is what we bring to bear as a software platform, which is a bunch of different tools that you and your clients can use to effectively manage the company. I just like to share just a few more tidbits with you because if this is a partnership, I want you to feel connected to us as a company. We have a set of compelling, audacious goals now through 2030 that really drive us as a company. First and foremost, one of our compelling, audacious goals is to be one of the most trusted brands in the world. And secondly, we want 10 million people meaningfully impacted by our companies. Fun fact today, I think I have a slide on this. I think we have 220,000 paying users, but that's just the people paying to use the platform. We actually, if you think about the overall company size of the companies that we're in about companies with about 2.5 million employees. So we're on our way. We're about 20% of the way there. We have a lot to climb, but we believe we can make this impact in the world with our software. So hopefully that helps you start to feel a little bit connected to our compelling, audacious goals. I'm not going to read all of these out to you, but I just want you to understand one core thing from this slide, and it's that we are a well-established company. So we're Series B at this point, 190 employees, been around for a long time. We're a very established company. So I don't want you to think that you're going to partner with somebody that's just going to vanish. We are well positioned in the market. We're doing well, growing well. We have lots of new companies and logos onboarding every single day. So very established company, very excited about our growth. 90 primarily grows through partnerships. So you'll see that Growth Drive is on here, but we have a whole bunch of, these are kind of like our core strategic partners that we have on here. EOS is probably the one we are most famous for because initially when we launched into market, we were software for EOS, but we have since went beyond EOS. The vision for 90 is to be the iTunes of business management systems. EOS is great for some companies. Value acceleration is EPIs. You guys have Growth Drive. We don't want to tell entrepreneurs, we don't feel like we have the right to tell them what to use. That's on a great coach. We just want to be the technology solution where the business is managed. So hopefully that helps you understand our position in the market. Let's talk about actual use cases because I think this is good to talk about. So practical use case for 90, number one, for partners like you is we think about 90 as your service delivery tool. If you think about the journey you're going to take your clients on through Growth Drive, a lot of this is going to be brand new to them. They haven't done work like this before. So there's an element of education and understanding of the management system you're going to take them through. You guys probably know this better than any other partner that we work with, especially as you're driving value to exit. There is this huge pain for owners where the business is owner dependent. So their value isn't nearly what they think it is. One of the big reasons why owners have a hard time letting go is because of this lack of trust. And they lack the trust because they have no real visibility to what's going on inside of their company. And they lack tools to hold people accountable to the core roles and responsibilities and KPIs of their seat. So 90 solves a lot of these issues, and I'll show you exactly how that works. And finally, when clients are working with advisors like you, there's always the question in the back of their mind, is this working? 90 provides a compelling use case for you to demonstrate the results of working with you through this Growth Drive system over time. So 90 checks off all of those boxes for you as a service delivery mechanism. Sorry, Bill is entering the room, letting Bill in. And talked a lot at this point. Let me actually show you the software. So I'm going to get out of my screen share, go into this demo, and you can see that I'm in Growth Drive. So all the stuff that you do and you're learning, one of the unique value propositions that we have with George and Growth Drive is we've taken the Growth Drive system and we put it on our platform. That's all we've done. So all the language, all of the way in which you do your strategic planning is completely out of the box templatized and ready to rock and roll for you. Let's get into some practical, like how would you actually use this with clients sort of scenarios? Well, one of the first ways in which I believe you're going to use a software, when you start working with clients, you're often using this really amazing, compelling valuation software called Clarity. Truly magnificent and beautiful and highly effective, right? Point is when you're doing evaluation is kind of perhaps one of the first steps in the work and journey with your clients. often what happens is they see the real value of their company, and it's often not where they think it is. Most businesses, even if they're cash flowing well, again, if they're owner dependent, the value isn't as high as they want it to be. But when you're doing the valuation and clarity, this is all housed. You can access all of this stuff within 90. So once your clients understand their value, and if they start to say, man, that's not where I want it to be, I actually have to do something to improve that value over time. This is why they're working with you. You're going to help them grow their value over time. How do you go beyond understanding your current value to actually doing activity that increases value over time? That's where 90 comes in. 90 is the place to go execute with you as their advisor and to document everything over time. So once you understand the value gap delta, you'll start working with your clients to document, okay, 3 to 5 years out, what do we think the goals are? 1 year out, what do we think the goals are? Frankly, most importantly, what are we going to do now in the next 90 days in terms of revenue, profit, KPIs? What are the handful of company objectives that we really want to laser focus on that propel the business forward in the right direction? What are our 1 year OKRs? And beyond the how, there's also why. Part of what you'll do with clients is help them document like their why statements. Like, what do you need personally and professionally? Like, what is your mission? What are your guiding principles? This is all about human capital and attracting the right people to the company, because human capital is 70 to 80% of businesses' risk, right? So from a planning perspective, all of the planning can be done in here. I talked about owner dependency. And I talk about that a lot because I hear that a lot from growth advisors all over the place. The org chart is a really powerful tool that I see advisors using early on to help their clients understand that, yes, while you're cash flowing well, Brandon, or let's use George. George, while you're cash flowing well, brother, you're sitting in like 5 core seats. You're running sales, you're running finance, you are the CEO, you are the COO. If you were to vanish tomorrow, could this business exist without you? This tool is really incredibly simple, but it's often a very powerful, eye-opening tool for them to say, look, I know you think you have a lot of value, but it can't operate without you, so it's not valuable. Now, what I'm going to do with you over the next 12 to 18 months is figure out how do we build the right structure, get the right people in the right seats with the right roles and responsibilities, so you're just sitting here in whatever seat they really want to be in. That makes it a more saleable asset. We're going to go and actually build a real revenue team, a real revenue engine for this company that's not dependent on you. We're going to build real sales structure and operations, yada, yada, all the stuff you know. But this is just a powerful, an example of a use case. When you're walking through what you do with clients, I'll get to come to this later, you can literally take them inside of 90 and show them examples. Like, I'm going to build these kind of things for you. And 90 becomes a closing tool in some cases for you.
So I'm going to comment on Brandon. This is awesome. I'm going to comment on this for a couple of minutes when Brandon wraps up.
Well, you can do it now, brother. Like, this is interactive. So if you want to riff now while it's fresh, go for it.
Well, what I would add here is that if we think in terms of the leadership module, and if you go and look at how we allocate the 24 growth driving objectives across 4 functional areas, you'll actually see that play out in this mock-up we've created here. But you have your growth driving objectives, for example, effective senior leadership. That is in the executive branch, and that is something that the CEO is typically tasked with they're being accountable for. So as you populate this and as you're looking for best practices, the leadership module is your intersection.
Thank you, George.
Sure, thank you.
Another thing we'll touch on, because this is really hard. Let's talk about process. So when you think about helping your companies build and demonstrate value, one of the things that no company wants to do because it's really, really hard, but it's totally necessary, is how do you document the way in which the company operates from all of your onboarding processes in general, right? Like all of your internal SOPs. How do all of your teams in every division of the company, how do they do what they do from point A to point Z to get to the outcomes? So in 90, we've created this knowledge sharing tool where this is where you would document all of your processes. And by the way, if you have processes that you want to introduce to your clients, these are often where they would live. So as part of, again, learning, there's a big educational part of what you're going to do with your clients. They can come into 90 and access all of your content you want to share with them. And they will also document all of their internal processes and SOPs inside of 90. What's really great is your leadership team that you work with and you as their advisor can come in here and see how are they progressing along the way throughout all of their knowledge content. So there's a lot. I'm not going to go into every nook and cranny today, team, because my point isn't to overwhelm you. I'm just trying to show you high level conceptual, how powerful it is. But if you want to go one-on-one deep on any of these tools, we can certainly do that. Just a few other call outs too. So we've talked a lot about like, here's how you build the plan and execute against the plan to close that value gap in that delta. Here's how we get the right structure. Here's how we document processes. Clients and partners like you love the data tool. So data is a superpower for most organizations. It helps us understand the accuracy of our predictions every 90 days, and it helps us understand, are we moving in the right direction, or are we losing/learning? I like learning more than losing. But things like data start to address the visibility, the transparency, and the accountability gap that owners often lack and why they don't trust teams. So when you start architecting data and you start assigning visibility and ownership of that data, like where you just see a blank graphic here, if this were a real company, you would see people's faces. You would see that Brandon owns MRR. Things are very colorful and easy and visual. Are we on track on average for our goals, or aren't we? Is Brandon delivering on this KPI, or is it a miss? And again, things are very visual. You can slice up data weekly, monthly, quarterly, annual. We try to give you and your clients very flexible options for how you look at it. I'm going to show you meetings really quick. And I know I'm popcorning around, but I like.
Yeah, Brandon. I'm going to tie this together with our process when you're done. This is great. Thank you.
Here's why I like meetings. So we've talked about a lot of strategic planning tools, and those are great. But meetings are typically where the action happens. I can't think of a company that I've ever worked with that doesn't do some form of meetings. But most meetings, frankly, suck. I'm sure you've all been in meetings. We call it death by meeting, where there's no agenda. Everyone comes in, they're unprepared to talk about topics at hand. You leave the room feeling more frustrated than relieved because there was clarity. So what we've done in 90 with George and Growth Drive is we believe that great meetings have, I say 4 things in common, let's say 3. First of all, meetings start on time, they end on time, and they have a predictable agenda. So everyone knows how to prepare and participate. The 4th thing I'd like to throw in is they have a great facilitator like you all that teaches them how to become great facilitators internally. But here's why meetings are great, because this is execution. You're bridging the strategy and execution gap with your clients. We give you lots of different meetings out of the box, friends, whether you're doing weekly, quarterly planning, annual, your one-on-ones between managers, managees, everything's in here. Let's just pick on the weekly meeting. So when you're coming in here to 90, most of the things that you want to keep a pulse on every week are just here as an agenda item.
And guys, these agendas are right out of chapter 10 of my book. They're in C3D. These are our standard meeting agendas. Thanks, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you, George. Keep making the connections as you call them out. This is good. So you can see this is a timed meeting cadence, whether you're in person and you're showing this on a screen, or you're doing this like we're doing it virtually. You can run really effective collaborative meetings in any format you want. But all I'm doing as I'm running this meeting, I'm facilitating, I'm just hovering over the meeting agenda items and I'm just advancing. So let's say I'm at the part where I want to get into issues discussion. All I'm doing is clicking on that, and it's loading up that section of the meeting agenda. So as you start doing this with your teams, frankly, across all of our clients, the number one utilized and appreciated feature is we're changing death by meeting for companies. When your teams start operating in a unified way and you're looking at the data, you're solving problems, you're assigning to-dos to people that fill up their work week, and those to-dos are strategic because they're part of how they win their 90-day world, that's really powerful. So not going to go too deep into these nook and crannies here today. We can always do that one-on-one. But hopefully you're starting to see how you would actually use 90 in your service delivery for clients. There's a lot of technical onboarding stuff we're going to get to in a little bit, but don't worry about that right now. I'm just hoping you're making the connection that 90 is typically your service delivery platform. Last thing I'll say before I get out of the demo, when you're working with clients, you're going to have one set of credentials, one email, one password. And when you click on the name of the account in the top left corner, you can easily access all of your clients from one place. So if today I'm in this growth drive demo, but let's imagine 90 was one of your clients. You could click on 90 and it will load up that client account for you. As their advisor, you exist inside of your client accounts for free. You have keys to the kingdom. So if you're curious what the data looks like for that client, go and look. You can select any team you want across in the company. You could see exactly who's performing. Like, look at this scorecard. I'm doing pretty good, guys. But you could look at every data point inside of the company across every team. Did they fill out their company plan, both on the, we call it vision and strategy. You guys use slightly different language, doesn't matter. But you could see, like, are they doing the work? How are they progressing on their objectives? We call them rocks. You call them objectives, tomato, tomato. But you could go into every team and see, hey, is Brandon on track? I'm probably not going to get one of my rocks done. So this gives you an amazing amount of visibility into all of your clients. And ultimately, it allows you to be an amazing proactive advisor. You're going to start to see patterns inside of your clients that they don't yet see, because it's hard to read the label when you're in the bottle and you're that outside third party objective sounding board for them. So 90 is your way to always be in the room. That's my point. One of the main value props. I'm going to out of the demo. Before I do, any questions from the crew so far before I go on?
Nothing in chat.
I'm just killing it. That's what I'm hearing. I'm killing it. Okay. All right. Well, let's get out of this. I'm coming back to this slide because, again, I just want to reinforce this point. Like, leaders want clarity, accountability, and structure for sustainable growth. And I'm hoping you're starting to see that you're 90% of the magic. You're walking them through this growth drive, business management, business operating system. We're 10% of that. We're just the technology, the delivery platform that brings it all together so they can see the results and you can hold them accountable to the hard work of growing their business. So just bringing it back full circle. Okay. So that was the use case for how you would actually use it for clients. But I think equally importantly for you, like, most advisors, coaches, consultants that we work with often forget that they're running a business. Even if it's just you as a solopreneur, you are yourself running a business. When you are trying to work and pitch clients can smell it on you if you're not consuming your own offering, right? So one of our challenges when we work with partners is you should actually be doing this for your own business, even if you're a solopreneur. 90 is an amazing way for you to manage your practice. Look, you're not going to use all the bells and whistles like a true company would in 90, but at a minimum, you should have a plan for your practice. You should set objectives for yourself that keep you focused. You should be setting, KPIs and monitoring your KPIs as well. Like, at a minimum, you should be doing those things, like consume your offering that you're trying to convince others to do as well. I talked about this concept of 90 as a closing tool. So we have a partner named Cullen Talley. He's from a firm called Exit Momentum. And Cullen can't take on any more clients. He's like maxed out. And I asked him one time, what is one of the secrets to your success? And he's like, dude, whenever I'm pitching a client on my service, I take them into 90 and show them my account. Because often when I explain what I do, it seems complicated. It seems complex, right? Even though I have a proven process. But when I take them in 90 and I say, look, here's what I'm going to do for you. Your plan's going to look like this. You're going to have KPI dashboards across all of your teams that look like this. You're going to have rocks that keep you, or objectives that keep you focused just like this. It really helps solidify in their mind through the software exactly tangibly what they're buying.
And so what I love about that, Brandon, is what you're describing is essentially, guys, a demo of how you do and what you do. And
That's right.
and you're dispelling all of that. I don't know. You are going to blow through a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that are the biggest barriers to us getting a client to understand just how great an impact we'll have. I love that idea, Brandon. That's a good
Hey,
one.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Teresa?
Sorry.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, I'm a curious cat, so it's all about a curiosity for me. So in that demo, because I think George, that's a brilliant thing. I've had to cut things out of Growth Drive to not go live in my dashboard to show the power of Growth Drive. So are we protecting our client portal and our client names the same way when we're doing this if we were to show them a demo? Because I can close everything with Growth Drive. This is a bonus now for me with 90, but how are we protecting not showing clients or list of people that we're active with? So is there like a protection barrier there so they don't see your list of clients for client confidentiality?
Who are you asking, Teresa? Are you asking me or George?
I think Brandon.
I'm gonna go with Brandon because I love George, so I'm asked for
Yeah.
Brandon. I'm follow George's lead.
Yeah. So, here, let me back out of this. In the motion I'm describing, Teresa, let's imagine that this account you're looking at, when Colin is demoing, he's like showing them inside of his company. So imagine like eventually, whether you build your own account or we could build a demo environment for you, you're just going to show them inside of Growth Drive, and it's not going to have any client information in there. Like you're not going to have client lists, nothing proprietary. You're just taking it and showing them like an example of a strategic plan, right? Here's an example of like what I'm going to build for you. Here's how the Clarity evaluation solution integrates into 90. Okay. We then take that and we build out your plan, and you could have your real data or fake data. Like we can help you build demo accounts to show your clients. It's also, Teresa, not uncommon where we have this belief that you just got to get them started. So even if you are inviting clients into like your demo account or your coach account just to get them kind of going, it's time box, right? Like we monitor like, oh, you have a lot of users in there, Teresa, in your free account. Seems like they're really using it. Let's migrate them over to their own paid instance. We will help migrate data out of accounts into new accounts to help get clients started.
Brandon, just to chime in real quick, sorry, Teresa, don't want to interrupt. The way we've got all of the coaches set up, they don't have individual accounts. They're all added to the Growth Drive powered by 90 accounts. They all have individual teams that they're working with. So Teresa, to avoid having like multiple demo environments, just because it's more stuff that you have to maintain and we don't want it to be harder. It's so what will happen and what Colin will do, because his mentality is that if you're working with me, you're going on 90. Like there's no questions asked. This is the way it's going to be. So he'll actually stand the account up before he meets with the client. And it is now the client's account. Everybody gets a 30-day trial. So that way, if they don't do it, it goes inactive, no harm, no foul, totally fine. But you could actually, as you're working with them, start kind of building their account with them. You know, like this is, okay, we've been talking about this. This is where this can go in here. And then let's start talking about your strategy and kind of build it with them in the moment. And that way it's almost their version. And even if for some reason they don't end up going the coaching route with you, guess what? They can still use 90 at that point. And now you've kind of set them up with a launch pad of, oh, I can actually use some stuff in here that might help. And then when I'm ready for Teresa, she can jump in and assist too. So it gives you kind of a different runway to work with, if that makes sense. And so the more comfortable and confident we can get you and all of you guys as advisors in 90, this will become so easy as far as standing up an account real quick, either showing them your team within the account we've got created for you guys that you're managing your practice with. We'll give you the resources and kind of the workarounds to make this super simple for you guys. But standing up a bunch of demo environments is not really the best way to go, because it's a lot of management on the back end that you don't want to have to keep cleaning up per se.
No, I've worked my way around it. I just the actual drive inside is what's beautiful here at Growth Drive. So I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you.
Thanks, Teresa.
For sure. Brandon, there's a couple questions in here in the chat. Joe Lorenz chimed in. Joe, were you asking about the onboarding time or just making a suggestion that we should be budgeting time based off onboarding needed?
Thanks, Teresa. So I've used 90 for probably 3 years now. And for the big thing is just budgeting the time to onboard these guys. Because we go through and we explain where we're going. We'll do that alignment report, and then we'll do the planning piece. Loading all that usually requires a certain amount of effort. So my point was that Brandon, 90 does provide that support for the initial load up, which is really nice. Saves you a lot of time. And then the other ideal characteristic is you find someone that's a technology champion internally, that you're not feeling like you're taking the notes, because you're facilitating that, but initially 90 does a lot of that for us, but quickly getting someone to embrace those measurables and be that accountability clerk is really advisable early on, because the owner typically doesn't have the patience for it. But there's somebody internally that's got to have a passion for it. And even if they're not on the executive team, I found that that's less trusted internal folks that could be on the team that plays that role as accountability clerk, because there is a lot of data that has to be gathered and reported out on a weekly basis. That first initial couple months is just so critical for adoption.
Thanks.
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, you're 100% right, Joe. And I think later in my presentation, I talk a little bit specifically about onboarding. But the key takeaway I hope that you all hear today is you do not have to be software experts to leverage 90. We don't expect you to be teaching your clients how to use our tech. All of your clients will be assigned a dedicated onboarding specialist and client success manager. We do all of the training on here's how to use 90. We help your clients get set up. If your clients have historical data, like they have KPIs, they have objectives, they have a plan already, and they just want to get it in our system, we do all of that migration and setup with your clients. So you don't have to do any of that. So I just want to make that clear. It's super duper easy. You have to be dangerous enough to get into the platform and understand how to navigate it, and maybe sit in a meeting and understand how the meetings work. That's it. Very, very. So it is our job. Like, we are your points of contact, Teresa and I, at 94 Growth Drive. It is our job in our seat to make sure you are that confident and competent, but you do not have to be a software expert.
So I've got one question. I already have one client that I've already got set up on this. We've been waiting for a response from our onboarding person, and I've got another one I'm getting ready to start tomorrow. An organization that I used to work with, we did balanced scorecard, and we had about 1,000 employees. So in all of our divisions, we had data stewards, and that change management, obviously there was pushback. You're kind of changing the culture of the business. And both of these new folks, they're gung-ho to get started with me, but they've already said, hey, we expect that there's going to be some challenges. So being that you guys have gone through this with 15,000, user companies, how have you seen, like, if you're looking at the median, how are people adopting that, and where do you see the pushback from those folks that would be the data stewards?
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, I don't know how much data, the data stewards, I don't know how much data that they have. We really try to eliminate the pain of change by taking on the burden of making sure that data gets cleanly and accurately uploaded into 90.
Yeah.
Frankly and transparently, integrations are a challenge for us. So this year we are deploying, and Teresa, keep me honest, I think June is our API call. So we are going to leverage integrations as a way to streamline data talking between systems. But I mean, Michael, you're right. If you're working with clients that have sophisticated technology infrastructure, they have a chief technology officer, and they have things heavily integrated, 90 right now is a challenge, or can be a challenge for them, because we just don't have the open API call yet. The way we dance around that is give it to our team, and we will take care of all of the manual upload. But the ongoing entry of the data is manual from that client without integrations.
Yeah, it has to.
It is a challenge.
And so it was more of like these two clients are smaller. The larger one was just my baptism by fire with Balanced Scorecard several years ago. But with these, one's a manufacturer, so it would be very helpful to be able to API, and the company that provides the software, ShopFlow, they're actually willing, if there's someone with you guys that I can have them talk to, they'll actually create something to connect. But then also QuickBooks. I don't know if those are early on your list of integrations, or at least the QuickBooks.
Yeah, that's a broader conversation. Michael, I love the question. We have the same, by the way, our API for clarity is looking at QBO, but I'd like to keep this conversation focused on how we do what we do, and then we'll take the more complicated questions, and that's exactly why a cohort exists. Is that fair? That work? Okay, thanks, Michael.
And Michael, you and I can one-on-one, brother. Like, I to offline this with you and talk through it. But great question. Team, I promised you 40 minutes for the sake of time, and I'm failing you. So let me go through just a couple of other points here real quick, and we'll get to broader Q&A. Maybe. Okay. We talked about managing all of your clients from one place. The other thing I just wanted to touch on real quick, because this is a newer realization to us, is there's a lot. Again, we have 2,000 partners in our network. When we analyze kind of the top 10%, like what they're doing with 90 to really grow their business, they're using 90 as what we call a pipeline accelerator. And here's what I mean. I mentioned earlier, I think Teresa, you and I were talking, that there's a lot of coaches that leave money on the table because when they're positioning their services to an opportunity, if that opportunity isn't ready to buy their core offering, they discard that opportunity. When we look at what our top 10% of all partners are doing, is they're saying, no, like, the important thing is, Brandon, if I'm the client or opportunity, Brandon, the important thing for you is you just need to get started. If you're not ready to work with me, I get it. Here's a way you can get started trying to do this yourself. Get inside of this thing called 90. All of our tools that I would take you through are in here. And when you do that, you are actually added to their account so you can see what is really going on. Are they actually building the things they said they would build? Are they stuck? So when you go to do something like offer help first time, think about it like a transitionary offer. You could say, look, it looks like you're stuck building your KPIs. Like, I'd love to give you 60 to 90 minutes and talk through how to build KPIs. This is what our top performing partners do. And when they do this, they start to convert deals they otherwise would have lost. And along the way, by the way, we haven't got here yet, but like partner rewards, the more clients that you refer that close, you're building recurring revenue as an affiliate partner with us. So I just wanted to share that this is a new phenomenon we're seeing, and we're trying to socialize it to our partners. Like, this is what they're doing and how they're using 90 to accelerate pipeline. George, it looked like you might have been raising your hand in the corner.
No, I love this. That gets started. Keep going, man. You're on a tear.
Just got to get started. Like, give them a transitionary offer to get started. That's low effort. And to find a point to back that up, like, these are just kind of three of I didn't ask their permission to share their names, so I kept their last names hidden. But like, these are real partners in our network, Scott, Nate, and Michael. And this is data, because you can imagine we're keeping track of this. Like, in 2024, Scott referred 300 times. He had 56 signups, 40 wins. Those wins, he's building monthly recurring revenue from those wins. I don't know how many of these 40 wins he actually converted, but I can tell you, I know Scott, he converted a good handful of them, and he would have otherwise lost. Same thing with Nate and Michael. So if you could take away one idea from this, here's what we believe. The more you refer and just help people get started, 90, the more clients you'll win. And we want to make it really easy for you. So all of you would be equipped with a unique partner URL. Man, you could embed that URL in a QR code in presentations, in your email signature. We can actually help you print out, print material that you could put in books that you're giving out at trade shows or speaking engagements. There's lots of ways in which you can, refer 90 and make it easy for you to rack up signups and wins, build recurring revenue, and convert deals you would have otherwise lost.
Hey, Brandon, Michael
Yes.
had a question asking if it's a free offer for the clients, should we give them the 90 template? Or, Michael, I assume instead of the growth drive template? Is that what you're asking?
I was busy typing an answer.
Yeah. George, you go ahead and answer it however you feel.
I think that's a great question. That's a great question, Michael, and that's something I'd have to think about. But you might want to give them the growth drive template. If you're in one of the cohorts and you have access, I can see that it would make sense to now you are. We'd have to let's talk about it. There's a sort of a bigger conversation there. But that's a fantastic question, Mike.
Yeah, there's options. Like we have the version you guys get versus the version the clients get is different. Obviously, we're not giving them clarity inside of their account. That's really for you guys. If you want clarity in there, obviously we can have it in there. But also how many tools and insights you're giving them in there. If you're creating the account for them, you're in there as a coach. So even if you're not necessarily coaching them or they're starting out, you have full access to that account that you could kind of guide them along the way. So even if they don't end up going forward, you're still able to maintain what they're doing if you choose to. If you decide to go just the 90 route too, that's totally fine. The foundation of the operating system is very, very similar. It's going to look the same, just a little bit of language differences and a little bit of a different layout for the strategic plan, but foundationally almost identical.
God. I was looking at it as part of a deal stack when I'm doing a promotion, and it would make sense, I would think, that if we included that template, but I just wanted to get from George whether that was acceptable. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure.
Sorry, George. I should have probably checked with you to make sure that was kosher.
No, that's cool. It's a fantastic question. It's a fantastic question.
This is the beauty of the cohorts. Like there's stuff we're still, obviously you can see we're figuring out, but I wanted to show you like the real world application in 24, like our top 10%, like this is the stuff they're doing. Logistically, we can work with George to figure out what isn't kosher, but just behaviorally, like these are all the advantages of how you can use 90.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to take 5 minutes to tie this into our process. Go ahead, man.
Well, I got like 1 or 2 slides. This is going to be super quick. So, I want to talk about it. So everything I've been talking about, I've shown you like the use cases. I've talked about the software. Real quick, just on the partnership side. So there's kind of 3 reasons why partners like working with us. One is we have rewards. So we give you 20%. So whenever you refer 90 to a client and they convert, we pay you 20% of that monthly run rate. So you can imagine if you look at those numbers on the previous slide, you get a decent amount of signups. That monthly recurring revenue starts to be pretty attractive, which is nice. Obviously, you get a free installment of 90 to run and operate your practice as a partner with Growth Drive. And we have lots of different onboarding options, which we didn't go deep in today. But when you have a client, you can entirely delegate the onboarding of a client to us. We make that really easy. And on the opposite side of that spectrum, you can onboard clients yourself. Depends on how much control and how tech savvy you are. In a future session, or maybe at the end of this, we can go deep on onboarding. But those are kind of the rewards. A second kind of dimension of partnerships is how 90 supports business development. So I told you we have 2,000 partners all over the world. So one of the things we're big in is what we call trusted partner networks. Some people call them center of influences, yada, yada, yada. We know lots of fractional executives, fractional ops, fractional marketing, fractional sales, you name it. We probably have a partner that you should probably know because you guys could be networking partners together. So one of the things I always say is if you want to meet a complementary, not competitive partner in your area where you do business, shoot me a note. We have a partner map. I will go figure out who we're friendly with and make any introductions to you that I can. That's all about building trusted partner network and referral networking together. We do have co-marketing programs. So we have an example. One of our partners has these events in a box. I think I call them event kits. So 90 will help, co-market. We will help sponsor in the form of print collateral. There's lots of different ways in which we could do co-marketing with you to drum up business in your area. And one of the things I'm really excited about is I think in Q2, we're going to release, I hope, business development training. So again, our superpower in the market is we work with 2,000 partners. We know what the best ones do. We've spent time in 24 interviewing them and asking them for their playbooks and the things they do really well to stand out and win. And we're just going to build training programs inside of 90 that you all can access for free to help you with business development, teaching you how to fish rather than giving you the fish. And then finally, probably the third perk, and frankly, probably the most beneficial to you in the short term is just your dedicated support. So again, everything from client onboarding and training, you don't have to be the software expert. We help you if there's any technical or operational support that you need as an advisor, and any feedback you want to give us, like Michael, like your feedback today, like we prioritize and give partner feedback. It's more weighted and give that to our product team. So just kind of 3 different buckets of value for my partners like us.
I need to get an idea on tape here, guys, because this is a recording. Imagine ending a CEO workshop marketing event with 2 asks. One is, let's sit down and develop this information. The other is, hey, if you're not ready for me, Ed Wonke, here's 90, get started, and let me know if I can help. Man, you have just stuck the camel's head and neck and shoulders into the tent. Love that idea. Yep. Thank you, Brandon. I'm in love with this idea. Okay.
It's powerful. Yeah. And we were embarrassed we didn't spot it sooner, but when we analyzed trends, it was clear that, man, what are our top 10% doing? And this is what they told us. So
data, man. Yeah. Okay.
So you could tell that our ops team built this. There's a lot of information on the slide, but we do, believe it or not, have a proven process for how we onboard and work with partners like you. So today, consider this the introductory meeting. Like, this is typically what I would do one-on-one with partners. We're just doing it in kind of a group setting. From here, we would love to get you onboarded into that cohort account that Teresa talked about, enroll you officially as partners. There's no long-term agreements. You're not paying for anything. We're just, when you do that, we're literally giving you access to tools. We can put you in our revenue sharing program, yada, yada, yada. We work with you in this onboarding to make sure you feel confident and competent enough to refer your first referral onto 90. This is a customer exchange. Then our client onboarding team takes over and they go through this whole thing. So not going to go through this in great detail on this call, but we do have a proven process. In subsequent calls, if you want to go deep on this to have a better understanding, because you're a high fact finder, love you for it. We can happy to have that conversation with you, but we do have a proven process. Incredibly important. If there is one of the key takeaways from today, we got this from our last cohort, is like, how the hell do I log into 90? A great and fair question. So I would encourage you all to bookmark this URL. The way in which you log into 90 is you're going to go to app.90.io. Teresa, this is where I need your help. Keep me honest. We're going to look at that cohort account, the growth drive powered by 90. Mm-hmm. If we see that you are not in that account, we will invite you to that account. Is that correct, Teresa?
Yes, everyone on the call, I do see that I have got set up to be in there except Mark. So Mark, I'll get your information. I'll get your information from Izzy and we'll get you added into there as well so you get an invite. But everyone else has either been already invited or has already logged in.
Teresa, if we see they've been invited but they have not yet signed in, can we push a re-invitation so there's an email in their inbox? Okay. So if you have not yet accessed 90, sometime today, you will get an email in your inbox. I don't know where it's coming from, something 90. And it will say, hey, Joe, you're being invited to join the Growth Drive Powered by 90 account. Click here to log in, and you will create a username and password. Subsequently from there, every time you go to log in, you will go to app.90.io. You will come to a landing page and simply log in with your credentials, and boom, that is how you access 90. Any questions here? I saw some questions coming up on my other screen.
Nope, the questions are handled.
Okay. Please bookmark this. This is the number one question I always have to remind people of. How do I get in? Go to this URL. Team, I think that's my show. I'm 12 minutes over, but I think we answered a lot of questions along the way, but this is time for some additional Q&A.
Can I intercede for, I need 3 minutes to kind of sew this together.
Go boss. Go boss.
I'm going to share my screen, I think. There we go. Come on, baby. I got Zoom in the way again. All right, guys, I'm going to take just 2 minutes. I'm going to make a couple of points. One, think of this as your central point of truth. So in your client, as the advisor, you're creating a single source of truth about what's going on, with the plan. Okay, what's being done, when, and by whom. And we've talked about the fact that all of this is embedded. when you're looking to build out sprints, etc., Teresa Voss, here present, has taken the entire execute guidance and embedded it. So you will be able to like literally click and assign. If you're wondering about to whom to assign accountability, workshop with your client using the leadership module, okay? And now leadership does not represent a perfect world. The world is a very messy place. But you can workshop who should be primarily accountable using the leadership module. And this, 90 is very powerful at the very beginning of our engagement, whether you're using it as a free leave behind. Hey, you're not ready for me, get started. The growth conversation is embedded in there. That why are we doing all of this? And you can start, there are some things that'll happen inside Clarity, but that you will then be able to embed in 90. And the real money is in this, we create strategic plans, right? We are planners and doers. So we can create a strategic plan. That plan can be a document, and it can also be a series, built out in 90. The 90 team will help you build that. I mean, Teresa has done most of the heavy lifting. And after your first time, you'll be much more confident. That's what this cohort is designed to do. And this is where the real money is. Having a single point of truth about what's going on with each sprint, whether they're, and the business flow scorecard, all of that is embedded in 90. So our entire methodology, very important, and process is embedded in 90. So from biz dev on through, and I'll make this point again, when you see the meetings, those meeting agendas, which you can change, are the meeting agendas straight out of my book, straight out of that you can pull from the community, that, this is our business operating system. This is execution leadership. Okay. I want to hammer those points home. These guys have taken our process and made it super easy to democratize. Okay. Now those are the only points I wanted to make sure we stitch this all together. Brandon, great job. Thank you. So I'll stop sharing because I'm sure people have questions. Look at that.
Thank you for bringing it home.
That's really brief.
Brandon, you mentioned about velocity related to the coaching. What feedback have you gotten so far as, prior to this, I was able to handle X amount of clients, and then after this, I was having more velocity. Some of us are at that point, some of us aren't. So, but what that looks like in a practice like ours?
Yeah, I mean, it's most advisors and consultants that I talk to, like they tend to cap out somewhere between 12 and 20. So the range in which you cap out varies, right? Our top performing partners, honestly, some of what they're doing is like, because their book is filled, they've built a firm model and they're selling leads to members of their firm. So they have unlimited velocity. So that's part of why what we learned is that's part of why they're doing this is they're trying to monetize the brand and the business development system that they built. Like, frankly, that's one of the things that we're learning. Now, so those are like, gosh, I don't want to sound like our founder, Mark Abbott, but there's this concept for advisors of stages of development of your practice. Those are like stage 4, stage 5. But for like stage 2, stage 3, you're still you're not surviving, but you're going beyond 5 and you're chasing 12 clients. I don't have any direct data that says like, yo, this is going to cut your speed to winning that volume of clients down by 6 months. I don't know. But what I do know, Joe, is biz dev averages. The more at bats you have, the more opportunities you're likely to win. That'd be my key takeaway.
Like everything in life. Yeah.
You gotta have more at bats. 90 is a way to give you more at bats.
Thanks, man. Other questions, guys?
This
I've been answering in chat as well.
George, I just wanted to chime in. So the account we've created, the Powered by 90 Growth Drive account that has every one of the advisors in it. You guys each have your own private team. So use that to help manage your practice. Mark, I know you've already got a free account you mentioned from a previous life with 90, which is wonderful. This will not cause any conflict. It's just another account you can work in. What we're going to do is that I'm going to get with George and Izzy, and we're going to figure out the groups that you guys are already a part of internally. And we're going to create additional teams in there for you so that you guys can work together in there, bring issues to the meetings that you guys are already having, and kind of have everything live in there. And that way you've got your own personal version in that account that you guys are maintaining your own stuff, plus the team environment that you guys will be working in together. So that way it's all in one place. Everything that you own will be on your My 90 front page. That way you know where it goes at all times. And it'll be really easy for you guys to manage. So when after I get with George and Izzy to figure out the teams, I'll get those updated and we'll let you guys know that they're all in there, and you'll be able to see the ones specifically that you're to and only those.
Yes, and to underscore, guys, just because we're all in a bubble, does not mean we can see each other's stuff at all. I can't see your stuff. No, it is completely private. It's just inside the Growth Drive bubble.
Yeah,
that's a great call out too, because in the world you're in, like driving growth and finance, yada yada yada. It's important to know that your client's data is theirs. They own the data. We do not own the data. We can't even get inside and see what the heck's going on without their permission via email that's documented. So from a data security perspective, we could go deep on where AWS, East, West, yada, yada, yada. But the important thing is your client. And we're going to go on our journey together. It's going to take more than this conversation to make you confident and competent in 90. I'm going to follow up with each of you via email just so you have my contact information. I would love to one-on-one with you about any topic 90 related that you want, but specifically, I'm a practice builder and I love helping you figure out biz dev motions. Take me up on building trusted partner networks, happy to help you. But I will reach out so you at least have my contact information to book time if you so desire.
And Brandon, I already sent you an email. We need to get this in the hot seat. This is a podcast.
All right, let's do it, brother. I'm all about it.
All right, guys, we're at the top. Teresa Voss,
yes.
Brandon, thank you very much. This was fantastic. And we're right at the top of the time. So we start and end on time, right?
That's right.
This was great, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And thanks for each of you growth drivers for participating today. A lot more fun to be had.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Guys, take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. I'll post the recording in Circle.
Okay.